Welcome to your Business Without Borders. It's time to simplify your business so you can scale up, make more, and work less. This podcast is for creatives, innovators, risk takers, and rule breakers who are ready to push through traditional boundaries, make a big impact, and have more fun and freedom on the road to success. Now, here's your host, Natasha Mitchell.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Business Without Borders. I'm Natasha Mitchell, and in today's interview, we're talking all about meditation and how it can be used in the workplace setting. My guest today is meditation and feng shui expert and founder of My Paravita, a company that helps busy women find balance, wellness, and a sense of achievement every day by focusing on peace, power, and play. And my guest today is Kristi Stangeland. Welcome to the show today, Kristi. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. It's so great to be interviewed. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, it's my pleasure to have you. I first met Kristi more than 5 years ago now when I asked her to feng shui a rocky real estate deal for me. And she totally did the trick. And since then, we've become friends. She's a client of mine and also business colleagues. And I just love what she's doing in helping people bring meditation to their daily practice in life. In Kristi's prior life, she spent many years in the corporate world as a CPA for PricewaterhouseCoopers and JP Morgan Chase, and she's also launched a series of small businesses, so she's quite the entrepreneur. Kristi holds a diploma in mindfulness study by the NLP Center of Excellence and completed the BTB Feng Shui Masters Training Program, begun by Professor Thomas Lin Yun, one of the most renowned Chinese philosophers of our time. She's been helping women to create opportunities for success and personal fulfillment with meditation, retreats, and feng shui for many years. And she founded her company, My Paravita, in 2019 to share her knowledge, insights, and serve more women in a deeper way. So just a great background, Kristi, and I can't wait to draw on that experience as we share that with our community today.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, you're reading all that. I'm like, wow.
I know everyone.
Is that me?
Thinks that when I'm introducing them, they realize like how much expertise and experiences they have. So,
Yes.
It's so valuable for our audience to have such amazing experts on the show. So, Kristi, let's jump into the questions. In your life, as I mentioned, you were in your prior life, you were a CPA, and you've also launched a series of small businesses. Can you share a little bit of background as to what the catalyst was for you to explore meditation and mindfulness in a deeper way?
Absolutely. So when I was a CPA, one of my last jobs was I was the CFO of a real estate firm. And, looking at it looked like I had it all, right? I had 60 people plus underneath me. I was doing very well. I was getting, promoted very quickly. I had a family, a beautiful, 2 beautiful daughters, a great nanny, a husband, but all along, it just didn't feel like there was always something missing. There was some sort of joy that I just wasn't getting from that life. And I didn't know what it was, and I kept searching for it. And luckily, I was just talking to my daughter earlier today, the catalyst, because nobody likes change, right? Somebody has a great saying of the only person that likes change is a wet baby. So a lot of times we just keep going along because we don't know, we can't figure out what the next step is. But my daughter, we later discovered, was dyslexic. But at the time she was like, Mommy, don't leave, don't go to work. And my husband wisely said, well, you're not that happy with your job. You're looking for something else. She wants you home. Why don't you take the time? And I read a book on creativity. And in that book, it talked about taking quiet time for only 5 minutes a day. And that started my whole meditation practice. That little one sentence in a book.
That's amazing, Kristi. Like, I think so many people suffer from that very same challenge where, those high performing jobs, the big salary, they can all seem like success in some form. But I think I know I have experienced that myself in my own jobs where the career progression has seemed very rapid. The big dollars have been there. You've been leading a team. Life seems great, but that doesn't always equate to happiness or success, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you started getting into this meditation and mindfulness with just 5 minutes a day, which is really interesting. But I think this is a really will surprise people when I tell them this, that you've logged more than 250,000 minutes and counting of meditation. And that's the equivalent of over 173 days of meditation, which is no small feat for sure. So what does your daily practice look like now? Like, how long do you take? Where do you do it? Can you just share a little bit about your own practice?
Absolutely. And I think the interesting thing to note is that, if I were a yogi in India, that would be nothing, right? But this is called meditation for like real people.
Right.
So basically, my approach is that first thing in the morning, it is so important. And no matter how much time you take, to just do it first thing in the morning. And lately I've been on a motivational call at 6 a.m. So I haven't had that much time. So I've been setting my alarm for 5:30, and based on how much time, it might be just a 3-minute morning meditation, or it may be today I got 18 minutes. So that's kind of the time, between 3 and 18 minutes. Mm-hmm. Then I always take an afternoon meditation at this point in time, and I've done this for years because it's actually such a great reboot for me. And that's a 30-minute meditation.
Yeah, great. And, you've talked about different times of the day, the morning or afternoon, and obviously there are some benefits of doing things first thing in the morning and setting your mind in a positive way. But, obviously you're quite an early riser. Does it matter what time you do your meditation at, do you think?
No, I don't think it matters. I mean, I think best practices meditation would be once in the morning and once at night before you go to bed. I don't do that. I think I reap incredible benefits. I think the wonderful thing about the morning meditation is that you're going to do it. It's gotten done for the day. I know there are times when I'm like, oh, I'm going to work out at 2:00, and I never get to it. Just work gets in the way.
Yeah, so get it done and make it part of your routine. I'm not normally the 5:30 a.m. start, but I do try and do it first thing when I wake up. And I'm probably at about 3 minutes now. And just for people who are listening, Kristi really encouraged me with those small time chunks. I've never done meditation before, but Kristi's certainly been a great guide and mentor around encouraging me to do that. So thank you for that, Kristi.
So, and are you noticing a difference?
I do. And, we're going to talk more about this in terms of, how it affects you in daily life, and especially now when with so much going on around us in the world. But I certainly do find it sets me in that positive mindset. I do feel I notice that I don't react as quickly to issues or challenges when they come up. I certainly yes, I would feel a more sense of calm in some of those more stressful situations.
Yeah. That's great.
So as a, kind of is a great lead in, because as we've said, right now we're in this crazy time in the world where there's a pandemic. There's so much change going around us. So it's not only the fear and the challenge of a pandemic, but I think the change that comes along with that in terms of working at home or being at home with our children or being at home with our spouses or losing a job or whatever it is. I mean, there's so much change going on right now. So can you talk a little bit about some more ways that meditation can really help reduce our fear, help us to stay positive, or change our mindset during this or any time?
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I mean, there's so many studies out there that you could cite or look at or even Google about meditation. For me, a couple of the things which I know, Natasha, you know, is a really big thing, has to do with just taking the 3 deep breaths. I mean, just doing something so simple as that can, you know, stimulate the system that gets you out of flight, you know, flight or fright mode.
Mm-hmm.
And gets you into a much calmer. I mean, I love what I will call meditation hacks. You know, those things that you can do where it's like, oh no, I don't have to clear my mind. All I have to do is take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And we're so not used to taking deep breaths that just stopping to do that can make such a difference. The other thing that I find very interesting, and it was a study that came out of Mass General, was just how meditation does change the areas of your brain. And there is the section of your brain, the amygdala, which is all, you know, has your emotions, has your fear. And when that, with meditation, and this is not long, you know, these are short meditations that people were doing, they saw changes in this area of the brain where it, you know, it changed, it got smaller, it was not as active.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a like doing push-ups, you know, it's creating a muscle. And a study that I read, and I was telling my daughter who's in med school about this, and she was kind of laughing at me, and she's like, why do you have to bring in these science studies? And I'm like, because they're so good. They took out that area in rats, that area, the amygdala of the rats, they took it out, and suddenly they weren't afraid of cats. So now I'm not saying we're getting rid of our amygdala, but it does serve a purpose. But we just have, you know, our bodies aren't that good at deciding what is a real fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when your body, you know, when your mind starts to make up stories about what could happen, then that area of the brain is the one that's coming up with all these awful stories of what could happen.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, I think that's so helpful. I love meditation hacks, and I think everyone does, because there's sort of this perhaps illusion or myth that, you know, in order to be successful at meditation, you know, you have to sit for hours a day. Maybe you have to be a monk in Tibet and do something special. But it really sounds like anyone can do it. And you know, it's less about a right or wrong or totally clearing your mind. I mean, there's some just even behavioral things that sound like are a form of meditation and can make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, it has so many powerful benefits. And I do like that you bring up the scientific component of it, again, because sometimes meditation can seem a bit out there, mystical, a little bit alternative. And, you know, I think some people, if they've been thinking about this, really do want something that's proven and scientific. Some of the more logical thinkers are perhaps wondering what the more logical or scientific pieces are. So I'm glad that you've really have drawn on that. And for some of us, it'll just be like, whoa, it works, and that's great. You know, there's all different ways of
It's my CPA brain that's
right, exactly, the CPA brains. Yeah, exactly. And I'm an you know, accountant, not CPA qualified, but accountant as well. So I kind of have that logical mindset. So it's great to have that. And it kind of leads me into the next question, which, you know, is how can we use this in a bit more of a mainstream way? So for the most part, meditation has been generally a very personal practice, something done at home or in a yoga studio. But we're seeing now some more progressive companies beginning to incorporate this into more of a corporate world. And my observation with what's happening right now is that a lot of companies are looking for different ways to help their company, their employees to transition back into the workplace or adapt to different ways of working. How could companies use meditation to help with any of that?
Yeah, and the one that there are a couple presentations that I've seen or people that I've talked to, and one of them is Eileen Fisher, who, you know, many people know for her beautiful clothing lines, and she's always also been in the forefront of, you know, having a low carbon footprint with her business. But She starts every meeting that she has with the sound of a bell and a minute of silence. So if you work at the company of Eileen Fisher, that is how you start a meeting with her, because she feels like it's so important that people let go of, the meeting from before or the work that they were doing, so they can be in the meeting and productive and focused and with her.
Yeah. And I think they're the small cultural changes. I know a few years ago, and I was working as a consultant on a project. It was a big project, and every meeting was a bit like that. Everyone was rushing from meeting to meeting. They were running late to meetings. There was so much going on, and it was a really interesting experiment that I did in that. Is I actually did ask people to close their eyes, take 3 deep breaths, try and just let go of what had happened with them in the day. And it was met with very different reactions,
Right.
Like some people's like, has Natasha gone crazy? Like,
Yes.
What is she doing? And other people, it was very interesting. Some of the most senior people, actually, after they did that, I said, well, how did you feel? How was that experience for you? And one of the more senior executives literally said to me, he goes, that's the first time I've closed my eyes and relaxed in weeks.
Right.
I think it's, we've talked a lot about the benefits. I mean, I think if people are feeling calm and focused, they're going to have more creative and innovative conversations. They're going to be feeling less stressed. They're going to be feeling more energized. I mean,
Yeah, it's a wonderful gift that an employer can give to their employees of getting a meditation practice.
Yeah, and I think I think this is a conversation for a later time, but I think just in kind of what I've described in my own experience of that, I think leaders need there's some level of courage or bravery or ready to step out of the box that you may need to embrace as a leader, or even as an employee, asking your leaders to do something like that, because it is a little bit different. And it's different. So what would you say about that? If someone was looking to bring that in, but didn't want to seem a little bit mad in the workplace?
Well, again, there are just so many studies out there that are showing the benefits. And I know there are companies that are embracing it. The head of Aetna, I'm not sure if he still is the head, but he was in an absolute horrible skiing accident and was in a lot of pain and had a lot of issues, might have been in a concussion. I don't quite remember the story, but he started a meditation practice and found how it benefited him so much that he brought meditation to Aetna. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, and was actually showing how, having this as a benefit really changed the bottom line of the company.
Yeah.
So,
and I think you just said the magic word, change the bottom line of the company. I think if people could meditate their way to changing the bottom line of the company, they might be prepared to give it a go. And I'm going to leave in the show notes a little bit later some ways for people to connect with you, Kristi. But I know that's the kind of work you do both privately and with companies to help them to start infusing that meditation practice. So the bottom line results are a big selling point, I'm sure.
That's true.
So, Kristi, you have a meditation membership. It's called My Paravita Circle, and that's another great resource for anyone who wants regular support and community. But I would ask you now, we've talked about a few different ways, but could you share a few basic ideas with us for anyone who's listening who might be interested in getting started right now with a meditation practice?
Absolutely. So a couple years ago, we started My Paravita Circle, and the whole idea was to build a community to really support people and their meditation practice. So it really was, at first I thought it was just going to be for people who who wanted to start meditating, but I was delighted because there were a lot of people that I'll call, longtime meditators that also wanted to be part of the community. So what a wonderful thing, because we come together. Now we're coming together more, but in the beginning it was just once a month. But you had these people who were just starting to meditate, and then you had the people who had been meditating for years. And maybe some had been, but then they kind of fell off of it and they wanted to get back into it. But wonderful resources. One is just the community itself. And at this point in time, we come together once a month on Zoom at noon. In the evening, there's another monthly meditation. I've started Monday morning meditations to help people have set an intention for the week, and then to, continue to meditate during the week. On the website, the membership website, there are just great resources. There are, checklists if you're just starting out. There are emails that you can sign up for that will give you ticklers to do your meditation, on a daily basis, because it's really, what I like to say is making meditation a habit. We want to make it so it's like brushing your teeth. You wouldn't leave the house if you hadn't brushed your teeth. Yeah. Maybe nowadays you would. I don't know.
Oh, you never leave the house, so people don't brush their teeth. But I do. I just want to let you know, I do.
So it's just really getting people into that mindset and having a community. And oh my goodness, the community, people are so happy to be part of this community at this point in time. It's really been a wonderful support system for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so true. I think more than ever, we need community. It's almost like a social event as well, to go and do something like the meditations. I know the monthly meditations are really powerful. You always lead a wonderful meditation there. And, I think it's like anything. When you're building up a practice, even if it's that 3 minutes, it's kind of like going to the gym. You don't start doing a 1 hour workout if you've never worked out before. So it's about being able to take those small steps, having someone like yourself to guide you, to give you some resources around that, and having other people to keep you accountable. I think they're all the sorts of things I've found as being part of the membership that have, helped to kind of continue that practice.
And also a lot of guided meditations. So meditations that you can download and listen to, and then go into silence, and, learning the importance of silent meditation also.
Yeah, no. And I think this is like anything. There's tons of meditation out there. There's lots of different places you can go, but I just find having that central point where I don't have to Google for 3 hours to find what I need. I can just go into the membership site, find exactly what I need, and be in touch with other people that are sort of in the same headspace and learn from them as well. I think it's really a really great community there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a wonderful group. And there you go, and you're part of it.
Oh, well, it must be wonderful then, right? So Kristi, to close us out, you're going to take us through a really short meditation. And this is something that people can do at home, or if you're starting a meeting, and particularly in the virtual meeting space right now, I think this would be really powerful. You're just going to walk us through something super, super simple that we can do.
Yes, absolutely. So just going to ask who's ever listening, and Natasha, just to, have your feet firmly planted on the ground, and, have a soft gaze downward, and then just feel your body, get into your body. We spend so much time in our heads that it's really important to take the time to just drop down. And then we'll start by taking 3 deep breaths, filling your belly, filling your chest, making sure that your shoulders are relaxed, and then exhaling in the same amount of time that you inhaled. And then a second deep breath in, and a third deep breath in. And then we're just going to drop into silence. for 1 minute. That's it. And you may have thoughts coming, and that's fine. Just acknowledge them. Thank them for showing up. And now, just gently feel your body again. Notice how it's feeling. A little more centered, a little more grounded. And gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Kristi. That was
How
amazing.
did that feel?
Oh, I feel completely relaxed. And you know what I think is, it's amazing that 1 minute can seem like an hour.
Yeah, it can seem like an hour, but yet it can make such a difference in your whole body and how you feel.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think that just is proof of kind of what we've been talking about, that 1 minute or 3 minutes just to pause for a moment.
Yes.
And not think about anything or think about things, but let it go.
Exactly.
Sort of be aware of where we are and how we're feeling can really bring a huge level of relaxation. So again, I encourage people, if you've never done meditation before, just try that 1 minute to start. Or, you know, if you're feeling that your team needs a little bit more support or just a little bit of time to relax and get focused and get rid of some of the bad news that's out there for a few minutes, that may be a really great way to start your next meeting. And I'd love you to leave us a comment if you try that and let Kristi and I know how that's working for you.
Awesome. All right. Thanks.
Kristi, any last words of wisdom before we wrap up? If you know, of how meditation could change our lives, our business, or why it's so important for us?
I think that the way, and I think people have noticed this also, just because we have been forced to slow down. But I think, you know, pre-COVID, right? We were, you know, so busy. Technology's 24/7, and I think we've kind of, you know, this gets us back into our bodies, into slowing down, into a better, healthy way, and a much more healthy mind.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful and so relevant right now. And yes, hopefully out of the bad situation comes some new positive habits and ways of operating personally and as a community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Kristi, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your knowledge, your experience, some ideas about how we can use meditation sort of in this mainstream way. And if you'd like to connect with Kristi to bring more meditation into your life or to your business, you can visit her at her website, which is myparavita.com. And you can also check out her My Paravita membership circle there. And of course, you can follow her on social, on Instagram and Facebook at My Paravita. So thanks again for joining us today, Kristi.
And thank you, Natasha, and all the wonderful work you're doing with everybody.
Oh, thank you, Kristi. My pleasure. And if you want to connect with me to get my help to map out a plan to scale your business with ease, you can visit me at inspireanddrive.com and download my simple business blueprint or schedule a discovery call. Well, I'm feeling completely zen and relaxed and ready to face the week ahead. That's all for this week. I'm Natasha Mitchell saying thank you so much for joining us on Your Business Without Borders. Now let's go break some rules.
You've been listening to Your Business Without Borders with Natasha Mitchell. If you're ready to break some rules and create your business without borders, visit Natasha at inspireanddrive.com and download your free business blueprint or schedule a free business discovery session. You can also follow her on Instagram and Facebook at Inspire and Drive. Come back soon for another episode of Your Business Without Borders. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a review, download an episode, and subscribe. This helps us reach even more people.